My dear friend in Christ, how do you measure the strength of your faith? How do you know that your faith is really strong? Think about this. Only when tea bags are dipped in hot water can you smell its rich aroma. Life is much the same. You discover your strengths in the face of adversity. You emerge from tribulations to triumphs, from failures to fortunes, from setbacks to success, from obstacles to opportunities. And above all, from burdens to blessings. There's an old African proverb that reads, "Smooth seas don't make skillful sailors. Smooth seas don't make skillful sailors." When the great inventor Sir Thomas Alva Edison's warehouse caught fire accidentally, you know what he did? He called together all his workers, saying, "We are going to rebuild." You can always build opportunity out of tragedy. My dear friend in Christ, the fact of life is that we are either in a storm, we are coming out of a storm, or we are heading for a storm. But total trust in God in all these circumstances will always make us victorious over our storms, over our problems. St. Paul describes his suffering, yet he grew stronger in faith. In the second letter of St. Paul to the Corinthians, chapter 11, verse 24 to 26, we read, he says, "5 times I received from the Jews 39 lashes. 3 times I was beaten with rods. I was stoned once. 3 times I was shipwrecked. A night and a day I have spent in the deep. I have been on frequent journeys in dangers from rivers, from robbers, dangers from my own countrymen, dangers from the Gentiles, dangers in the city, dangers in the wilderness, dangers on the sea." That's the second letter of St. Paul to the Corinthians, chapter 11, verse 24 to 26. The finest wool comes from sheep in the coldest regions of the world. The purest gold must pass through the hottest furnace. The toughest wood comes from trees that have weathered many mighty storms. And God also chooses His best soldiers from the highlands of affliction. The story of Russian Baptist pastor Georgy Wins reveals his unflinching faith in God even in the difficult days of his life. He spent 8 years in a Siberian prison cell close to an open toilet and was fed only tea and soup. Before being exiled to the United States, he wrote a diary titled "Testament from Prison." And my dear friend in Christ, not a single entry spoke of negativity, of cruelty, or of despair. He instead described the beauty of the Siberian winter, his joy of receiving letters from his wife, his love for Russia, and above all, the quiet time he had for prayer and conversations with God. Our faith is measured the most in times of suffering. When you can't stand the problems in life, try kneeling. The second letter of St. Paul to the Corinthians, chapter 1, verse 4 reads, "The Father of mercies and God of all comforts, comforts us in all our affliction, so that we will be able to comfort those who are in affliction with the comfort with which we ourselves are comforted by God." Second letter of St. Paul to the Corinthians, chapter 1, verse 4. So my dear friend in Christ, don't be discouraged. You are never weak in a storm when you are with God. May you have a good and godly day.